Good day everyone. I am Nini Nahandayan. We are the group 9. So we are here to report about teaching children and adolescents literacy through appropriate books and strategies in literature. So introduction. Teaching literacy to children and adolescents goes beyond simply helping them read words on a page. It's about opening doors to imagination, curiosity, and critical thinking. At this stage, young learners develop their sense of identity, empathy, and understanding of the world. So the books and strategies we choose matter by giving them stories that match their age, interest and experience, we nurture a love of reading that can stay with them for life. Literature becomes not just a school requirement but a space where they can explore emotions, cultures, and ideas with the right approaches, whether through interactive storytelling, discussions, creative activities, or meaningful and connected to real life. This approach recognizes that every child or children and adolescents reads differently and thoughtful selection of both strategies help every learner grow with confidence and joy in reading. So teaching children and teenagers how to read is not just about helping them recognize words on a page, it's deeper than that. Opens their imagination, makes them curious, and help them think more critically at their age. They are still discovering who they are, how they feel, and how they understand the world. So the books and methods teachers use are very important. So when the students read stories that fit their age, interest, and experience, they enjoy reading more, and develop a lifelong love it, develop a lifelong it. Literature becomes more than just a school requirement. It also becomes a place where they can explore emotions, different cultures, and new ideas. By using the right approaches like storytelling, discussions, creative activities, or guided reading, teachers can make reading fun, meaningful, and connected to real life. Every child reads differently, so choosing appropriate books and strategies help each learner grow with confidence and enjoy reading.
Sige, sige. So, good afternoon everyone. I'm here to report an African folk tale entitled as The Spider, Spider Anansi. This story explains how stories came to Earth and why Anansi became known as the keeper of stories. Long ago, there were no stories on Earth. In those old days, stories belonged to the sky god named Yami, who kept them in a box beneath his throne. Because they had no stories to share, the people on Earth did not much have to do. They just sat around their campfires and whistled. Anansi the spider could see that the people were restless and bored, so he decided he would bring them something that would help them pass the time. Anansi straightened his 8 legs and wove a wonderful web that reached all the way to the sky. He climbed up the web until he arrived at the throne of the sky god Nyami, the keeper of all stories. Nyami, Anansi said, great god wise of the sky, I would like to take the stories to the people who live on earth. Will you let me have the great box? Will you keep the stories? I will give you the stories, said Nyami in a booming voice, but the price is high. You must bring me 3 things. Unini, the great python who can swallow a goat, Osebo, the mighty leopard whose teeth are sharp as spears, and Moburo, the hornet, whose stings burns like a needle of fire. Anansi made his way back down to the web to earth. He went to speak to his wife, Aso. Together, they came up with a plan to capture Onini, the great python who could swallow a goat. The next morning, Anansi walked into the forest, waving a big branch. As he walked, he spoke to himself. She's wrong, she said, pretending to be upset. I know she is. He is much, much longer than his branch. As Anansi drew near the watering hole, A large snake rose up. It was Onini, the great python who could swallow a goat. "What are you muttering about, Anansi?" asked Onini. "You are disturbing my nap. I have been quarreling with my wife," said Anansi. Anansi made his way back down to the web to earth. He went to speak to his wife, Aso. Together, they came up with a plan to capture Onini, the great python who could swallow a goat. The next morning, Anansi walked into the forest, waving a big branch. As he walked, he spoke to himself. "She is wrong," she said, pretending to be upset. "I know she is. He is much, much longer than his branch." As Anansi drew near the watering hole, a large snake rose up. It was Onini, the great python who could swallow a goat. "What are you muttering about, Anansi?" asked Onini. "You are disturbing my nap. I have been quarreling with my wife," said Anansi. She says that you are shorter than this branch, but I say you are longer. He will not listen to me, and I do not see how I can prove to her that I am right." "That is easy," said Onini. "Lay your branch on the ground and I will lie next to it. Then you shall see that I am longer." The great snake slithered over and lay next to Anansi's branch. "It looks like you may be longer," said Anansi, "but I can't tell for sure because you are not quite straightened out." "Could I straighten you out a bit?" "Certainly," said Onini. "Let me fasten your tail at this end," said Anansi as he worked. "That way I can really straighten you out. And let me fasten you here by your head as well." Before the python realized what Anansi was up to, Anansi had spun a web around Onini and tied him up to the branch. "Now you are caught," said Anansi. With that, Anansi carried Onini the python to Nyami. "That is one thing," said Nyami. Two things remained. Anansi went back to earth and began to think about how he might catch Osebo, the mighty leopard, with teeth as sharp as spears. Anansi dug on a pit on the path Osebo used to get the watering hole. He lay branches across the pit and covered the branches with sticks, leaves, and dirt. When Anansi was satisfied that the hole was well hidden, he scurried home and went to sleep. When Osebo came up to hunt during that night, he fell right into Anansi's trap. Anansi found him down in the pit next morning. "Osebo," said Anansi, "what are you doing down in that pit?" "You fool," said Osebo. "Can't you see that I have fallen into a trap? You must help me get out." "I will see what I can do," said Anansi. Anansi found a large willow tree and bent the top of the tree over the pit. He spun two silky cords and used them to hold the tree down. Then he spun another silky cord. He attached one end on the third cord to the top of the tree and let the other end dangle down into the pit. "Tie this cord to your tail," said Anansi. "Then I will lift you up." Osebo tied the cord to his tail. Then Anansi cut the two cords that were holding the tree down. The tree sprang back to its original position, carrying Osebo with it. Osebo dangled from the tree. Now you are how he might catch Osebo, the mighty leopard, with teeth as sharp as spears. Anansi dug on a pit on the path Osebo used to get the watering hole. He lay branches across the pit and covered the branches with sticks, leaves, and dirt. When Anansi was satisfied that the hole was well hidden, he scurried home and went to sleep. When Osebo came up to hunt during that night, he fell right into Anansi's trap. Anansi found him down in the pit next morning. "Osebo," said Anansi, "what are you doing down in that pit?" "You fool," said Osebo. "Can't you see that I have fallen into a trap? You must help me get out." "I will see what I can do," said Anansi. Anansi found a large willow tree and bent the top of the tree over the pit. He spun two silky cords and used them to hold the tree down. Then he spun another silky cord. He attached one end on the third cord to the top of the tree and let the other end dangle down into the pit. "Tie this cord to your tail," said Anansi. then I will lift you up. Osebo tied the cord to his tail. Then Anansi cut the 2 cords that were holding the tree down. The tree sprang back to its original position, carrying Osebo with it. Osebo dangled from the tree. Now you are caught, said Anansi. Anansi wove a web around Osebo the leopard and carried him to Nyami. The sky god was impressed. That is 2 things, he said. Only 1 thing remained. Anansi went back to earth to catch Moboro, the hornet, whose stings burned like a needle of fire. He cut a gourd from a vine and hollowed out the inside. Then he filled the cord with water and went to the nest where Moboro, the hornet, made his home. Anansi poured some of the water and the gourd over his own head. Then he dumped the rest of the water on the hornet's nest. Moboro, the hornet, came out, buzzing angrily. He saw Anansi standing nearby, holding a leaf over his head. Oh my, said Anansi. The rainy season seemed to come early this year, and it looked like you have no shelter from the rain. Would you come in? So, dili guys, sa last part, kaning kay Moboro, gitrick siya ni Anansi nga nagulan og early sa karon nga panahon. So, kaniyang gigamit niya huli si Moboro o gidala dito kay Yami. So, since nahuli na niya ang tulo ka ting nga gipangayo ni Yami, so, naging si Yami na your hard work is nabayad na. So, gihatag na niya ang box na naglalaman ng all stories na karon nga panahon. So, kaniyang gigamit niya huli si Moboro o gidala dito kay Yami. So, since nahuli na niya ang tulo ka ting nga gipangayo ni Yami, so, naging si Yami na your hard work is nabayad na. So, gihatag na niya ang box na naglalaman ng all stories na naganahan si Anansi na dalun sa earth. So, that is the end of the story. So, base sa story, daghan na daw nag-try nga himuon like kay Anansi nga pangayuon sa God ang stories para idala sa earth, pero wala nag-success sa ilaha. Pero sa tanan nga nag-try, si Anansi ang nag-success kaya ang gigamit niya ay ang iyang utok. So, gitrick niya, gitrap gigamit niya ang tanan nga kaya niya mabuhat, which is dahil tungod sa tabang pod sa iyang asawa na si Aso. So, palihog ko sa next. So now, here are the characters of the story. Anansi, a clever spider. Nyami, the god who owns all the stories. So, Asol, Anansi's wife. We have here the other characters include Unini, the great python, Osebo, the mighty leopard, and Moboro, the hornet. Palihog po sa next. So, the next is the setting. Earth, where the people live with no stories. Sky Kingdom, where Nyami keeps the box of stories under his throne. Forest and watering hole, where Anansi captures all the animals. Kung saan niya na kwanta ng animals, gitrick niya, loko niya dito. So, palihog ko sa next. So, the next is the plot of the story. Long ago, all stories belong to Nyami, the sky god. People on earth were bored with no stories. Anansi decides to bring stories to the people. So, he climbs up his web to Nyami and asks for the story back. So, palihog po sa next. So, the next is the rising action. Nyami gives Anansi a challenge. He must capture Unini the python, Osebo leopard, and Moboro the hornet. Anansi used a clever tricks the python by measuring him against a branch and tie him up. Trap the leopard using hidden feet and a tree. Pulls the hornet by pretending it's raining and trapping him in a gourd. So, atong gihimo niya ganiha. Yun siya nga, ang rain daw, murag nagsugod nga early, kanon nga panahon. So, palihog ko sa next. So the next is the climax. Anansi successfully captures all three dangerous creatures and brings them to Nyami. The following action is Nyami is impressed and tells Anansi he paid the price. Nyami gives Anansi the box of stories. So, tapos dito nag-end ang stories nato. So, palihog pa sa next. So, the next is the conflict of the story. Man versus nature, man versus challenge. Anansi must complete the dangerous task set by Nyami by capturing three powerful creatures. The internal conflict is Anansi wants to help the people and prove himself despite the impossible challenge. So, palihog po sa next. So, the next is the moral lesson of the stories. Cleverness can solve big problems. Wisdom is more powerful than strength. Helping each other bring reward. Stories are valuable and meant to be shared. So the point of view is the third person, the narrator, who tells the story about Anansi. So palihog po sa next. So the next is the tone in the mode. We have here the magical, adventurous, clever, and playful. And the symbolism. Box of stories represents the knowledge, culture, and power of the storytelling. Anansi, symbolizing wisdom, creativity, and using your mind to overcome challenges. Next. So, thank you. That's all. Bye.
So, good day everyone. I am Karen Joy Magdugo from BS Ed 1B. Today I tackled about the Chinese version, which is the Mulan. Next. The story of Mulan is one of the most beloved Chinese legends, centered on a heroic woman who defies societal norms to save her family and country. The full details vary significantly between the original 6th century poems, the Ballad of Mulan, and the famous Disney adaptation. Next, please. So, the short anonymous poem is believed to have originated in the northern Wei dynasty 386-534 CE, a time when northern China was ruled by non-Han ethnic groups like Xianbi and was constantly fighting against nomadic invaders. The Rowan and Xingfu Khans referred to as a barbarian cavalry or Huke in the poem. Next. Non-Han ethnic groups like Xianbi and was constantly fighting against nomadic invaders. The Rowan and Xingfu Khans referred to as a barbarian cavalry or Huke in the poem. Next. So here are the parts of the legend. First, I will be discuss the call to duty, which is they call filial piety. Setting the scene, the heroic Hua Mulan, whose name means magnolia flower, is the home setting. At her loom weaving, she is shining deeply. The conflict, she is not shining over a lover, but because she has read the army draft notice, the Khan Imperial ruler of the Northern Wei is calling for a major conscription, and her elderly father's name is on the list and very one of the 12 scroll of the draft. So we have also the discussion. Mulan notes that her father is frail and family has no grown-up son and no older brother to take his place. Her decision made immediately and based purely of filial text, loyalty, respects to her parent. She will go to war for her father. Next, please. Okay, the next is the Journey War. In the Journey War, we also have preparation. So Mulan goes to the four markets, which is East, West, South, and North, and buys all the necessary equipment, which the sheepstead and saddle, a bridge, and a long whip. So we also have the departure. She says farewell to her parents at dawn. By dusk, she is camping beside the Yellow River. She can no longer hear her parents calling her name. She only hears the rushing water of the river. And the front line was the next morning she leaves the Yellow River and reaches the Black Mountains by dusk. Now she no longer hears her parents' voices, but only the fierce knighting of the barbarian cavalry horses. So next is knighting of the barbarian cavalry horses. So next is the service and the triumph. We also have the length of the service. Mulan fights in the war for a period of 10 or 12 years. So 10 or 12 years siya nagfight. So she crosses the passes and mountains. She also surviving countless battles where generals died. So, nga na si Mulan, no? So, her success was immensely successful and distinguished warrior. But the poem gives specific details about her victories or any unique sidekicks, like a dragon or crickets. Okay, so identify the guarded. Crucially, her gender is never discovered. So, ang gender dun ni Mulan was never be discovered. She also leaves fights, services side by side with her comrades for over decades. So taas-taas gid siya, guys. Also, they remain completely unaware that Mulan is a woman. So we also have next, which is the return and reveal, declining the reward. When the war is won, Mulan and the remaining warriors return to the capital and receive by the Khan, which means the son of heaven. In his splendid hall, she is offered a high official post of minister's possession. Reward she declaims. So, italaan siya higher na possession, but Mulan declaims all the, we should say, the price. Okay, so the next was the sample request. Mulan requested that her only request is for the swift horse or camel. Maybe we all know what the horses and the camels are, to carry her back to her hometown. So Mulan only requested the horses and the camels. So the family's joy when she arrives, her parents rush out of the city, walls to greet her, leaning on each other. Her older sisters fix her makeup, and her younger brother sharpened a knife to slaughter a pig and lamb for a celebrating fest. So another was next is the transformation. Mulan goes to her room. She takes a return and reveal, declining the reward. When the war is won, Mulan and the remaining warriors return to the capital and receive by the Khan, which means the son of heaven. In his splendid hall, she is offered a high official post of minister's possession. Reward she declaims. So, italaan siya higher na possession, but Mulan declaims all the, we should say the price. Okay, so the next was the sample request. Mulan requested that her only request is for the swift horse or camel. Maybe we all know what the horses and the camels are, to carry her back to her hometown. So Mulan only requested the horses and the camels. So the family's joy, when she arrives, her parents rush out of the city, waltz to greet her, leaning on each other. Her older sisters fix her makeup,
and her younger
brother sharpened a knife to slaughter a pig and lamb for a celebrating fest. So another was next is the transformation. Mulan goes to her room. She takes off her battle cloak and puts on her old-time clothes. She fixes her hair at the window and applies makeup before the warrior. And lastly was the shock. She steps out to greet her comrades in arms, who are literally astonished and perplexed that mighty warrior that fought alongside for 12 years in a beautiful woman. So kung siya no, dito na siya nabagal time na mag-change siya from the kaan na nag-translate into a man. So ibalik niya yung alindog as a beautiful woman. So next pagyad siya. We also have the closing moral. So this is the moral of the poem ends with a famous metaphor that sums up. We also have the closing moral. So this is the moral of the poem ends with a famous metaphor that sums up Mulan's legacy. So muli siya ang katong nag-ending na siya. So muli siya ang line ni Mulan. Dahi hers feet go hold and skip. The she hare's eyes are mottled and fuddled, that when the two hares run side by side close to the ground, how can they tell if I am her or she? So, ito siya ang word of legacy ni Mulan. Suggested that competence and bravery are not the matters of gender. And in action, a person's capability shines regardless of whether if they are male and female. So next. So my next topic was definition. Okay, so my next topic is definition and importance of book choice. Next, we have definition of the book choice. Book choice refers to the process. It is the reversible process and act of selecting reading materials, such as the novel, non-fiction, works, articles, or other texts based on the person's personal interest, preference, and ability for instructional level. Well, it can simply mean any book a person decides to read in educational, literary context. Book choice often specifically highlights the concept of reader autonomy, where students or learners are given the freedom to select their reading materials instead of being assigned a mandatory text. So next is...
Good day everyone, I am Sarah Denise P. Pabrea, and my topic story, the title The Little Prince by Antonin de Saint-Exupéry. The Little Prince, fable and modern classic by French aviator and writer Antonin de Saint-Exupéry that was published with his own illustration in French as Le Petit Prince in 1943. The simple tale tells the story of the child, the little prince who travels the universe gaining wisdom. The novella has been translated into hundreds of languages and has sold some 200 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling books in publishing history. So here's the summary of the story The Little Prince. The narrator introduced himself as the man who learned when he was a child that adults lack imagination and understanding. He is now a pilot who has crash-landed in the desert. He encounters a small boy who asks him for a drawing of a ship, and the narrator of Gates. The narrator who calls the child the Little Prince learns that the boy comes from a very small planet which the narrator believes to be the asteroid B612. Over the course of the few days, the Little Prince tells the narrator about his life on his asteroid planet, which is no bigger than a house. The prince spends his time pulling a baobab seedlings, lest they grow big enough to engulf the tiny planet. One day, an anthropomorphic rose grows on the planet, and the prince believes her with all his heart. However, her vanity and demands become too much for the prince, and he leaves. The prince travels to the series of the asteroids, which featuring a grown-up who has been reduced to a function. The first is the king, who requires obedience but has no subjects until the arrival of the prince. The sole inhabitant of the next planet is the conceited man who wants nothing from the prince but flattery. The prince subsequently meets a drunkard who explains that he must drink to forget how ashamed he is of drinking. The fourth planet introduces the prince to a businessman who maintains that he owns the stars, which makes it very important that he know exactly how many stars they are. The prince then encounters a lamplighter who follows orders that require him to light a lamp each evening and put it out each morning. Even though his planet spins so fast than dusk and dawn, both occur once every minute. Finally, the prince comes to a planet exhibited by a geographer. The geographer, however, knows nothing of his own planet because it is his sole function to record what he learns from explorers. He asks the prince to describe his home planet, but when the prince mentions the flower, the geographer says that the flowers are not recorded because they are empirical. The geographer recommends that the little prince visit Earth. On Earth, the prince meets the snake, who says that he can return him to his home, and a flower who tells him that people lack roots. He comes across a rose garden, and he finds it very depressing to learn that his beloved rose is not, as she claimed, unique in the universe. A fox then tells him that if he tames the fox, that is, establishes ties with the fox, then they will be unique and the source of joy to each other. The narrator and the little prince have now spent 8 days in the desert and have run out of water. Then the two traverse the desert in search of the well, which miraculously they find. The little prince tells the narrator that he plans to return the night to his planet and flower, and that now the stars will be meaningful to the narrator because he will know that his friend is living on one of them. Returning to his planet requires allowing the poisonous snake to bite him. The story resumes 6 years later. The narrator says that the prince's body was missing in the morning, so he knows that he returned to his planet, and he wonders whether the sheep that he drew him ate his flower. He ends by exploring the reader to contact him if they ever spot the little prince. The moral of the story: the little prince is the is that what is truly essential in life is invisible to the eye and can only be seen with the heart. This is the best exemplified by the idea that love, relationship, and personal responsibility are the one gives life meaningful, not material possessions or superficial appearances. Also include the importance of retaining a childlike sense of wonder and imaginations. The understanding that the true value comes from the time and care invested in people and things. So that's all. Thank you.
Storytelling. Storytelling is the skill of telling a story using voice, expressions, actions, and imaginations to share events, ideas, or emotions with an audience. It helps listeners visualize and understand the story. So next we have the strategist. So first we have use expressive voice, change tone, volume, and pace. Next one is use gestures and facial expressions to show emotions. Third one, maintain eye contact to keep attention. Fourth one, use props or pictures to support the story. Fifth one, ask questions before, during, or after to involve the audience. And lastly, build suspense by pausing or lowering your voice. So this strategist, it helps making storytelling smoother and more engaging for the audience. Using the right pausing keeps listeners comfortable while clear pronunciation and good intonation help them understand the story's emotion and meaning. So pausing at commas and periods gives the story a natural flow. Showing pictures makes the story more interesting, especially for children. And choosing age appropriate books ensures that the audience can enjoy and connect with the story better. So next one we have this importance. So first we have developed imaginations and creativity. Second, we have improved language and vocabulary. Third, we have enhanced listening skills. Fourth, we have built emotional understandings and empathy. And fifth, we have this strengthens memory and comprehensions. And lastly, encourages confidence in speaking. So the importance is it helps the story or children's grow the imaginations and creativity, and it also improves their language skills by exploring them to the new words. So storytelling trains them to listen carefully and understands emotions, which builds empathy. It also strengthens their memory and helps them understand stories better. So most of all, it also helps them to boost their confidence, especially when they are sharing their stories. Reading aloud. Reading aloud is the act of speaking written text clearly and expressively so listeners can understand and enjoy the story or information. So, we have this strategies of reading aloud. So these are the 6 strategies of reading aloud. First, we have use proper pacing, not too fast or not too slow. Pronounce words clearly. Use intonation to show feelings and meaning. Pause at commas and periods for clarity. Show the pictures if a storybook for kids. And lastly, choose age-appropriate books for the audience. Second one, we have the importance. We have the 6 importance. So first, improves listening and comprehension skills. Second, builds vocabulary and language development. Third one, helps develop reading fluency and confidence. Fourth one, encourages love for books and learning. fifth one strengthens bonding between the reader and listener. And lastly, helps children understand context, emotion, and character behavior. So this skills is important because reading aloud helps children listen and understands the stories more clearly. It introduces new words that grow their vocabulary and supports their confidence as they practice reading. It also makes them enjoyable books, turning reading into a positive experience. Most importantly, it strengthens the bond between the reader and the children.
Ambak sa Mary.
Go, Nod, go!
So, good afternoon to everyone, especially to those who witnessed our video presentation. So, today, let's tackle the Very Hungry Caterpillar. So, the Very Hungry Caterpillar was some among you here as already known or sometimes read this book. So, when back I was kinder, this book was, nana siya sa kinder, like, nag-exist na siya bitaw. So, let's tackle more about the Very Hungry Caterpillar. Kay, as you can remember, no, if the author written this book, na siya background, like, kung sa yung reason nga nung i-kuhan nga book. So, please, next one. Introduction. The Very Hungry Caterpillar is a classic children picture book known for its simple storytelling, colorful collage style, illustration, and educational them. It teaches counting days of week, healthy eating, and the life cycle of butterfly. So as you can see no sa introduction no, the caterpillar was sa slide, ay cycles dara like from the egg to caterpillar to what we call how to read this chrysalis and butterfly. So the Very Hungry Caterpillar was not invented lang pasahol lang siya but ga-exist yapon ang back ato mga subject before na like math, science, and health because as you can see healthy eating and life cycle so murag science related o health related kay siya no. So next. So here's the author background. So next. So here's the author background. So the Very Hungry Caterpillar was written by Eric Carle. He was born on June 25, 1929 at Syracuse, New York, United States. Suddenly, he passed on May 23, 2021. He was also an American author and illustrator, known for bright hand-painted tissue paper collage. He created also 70 books of children. So one of his famous books was this, The Very Hungry Caterpillar. And he also famous for combining art, science, and early learning concepts. So as you can remember, no, like sa akong giingon before na dili lang ang The Very Hungry Caterpillar nag-focus sa pagbasa, but the exist yapon ang more than let's just say two subject like science and health. So next. So here's the summary of the story. The story begins with a small egg on a left. So as you can see here in the slide, there's an egg on a lip. That's the starting point of how caterpillar start. Like, nag-exist, no? So tiny caterpillar hatches and begin to look for food. So after overeating sweet, he get stomach like if busog na daw siya, like magpawis na siya kadali daw, he then eats one green leaf and feel better. So he built a cocoon like as you can see in this slide na ikuan ba kanang like punuan that requires patience, healthy choices, and learning from mistakes. Just like the caterpillar, we may start small, but with care and time, we can transform into something better and stronger. So as you can remember, no, if makakita tag caterpillar first murag di ta nagtan-aw sa iya kay murag kung sa kwan pa like laging sila giningon nga murag sa piring inana bitaw murag ana. But after that pakita natin no nga sada man siya nga evolution. So that is the story because no matter who you are now, I mean your look today, don't hide that. Instead, show that na kana imong like sana tawag what we call this imetong nga nasa ang utok di na ko siya makuha sa imong nature beauty bitaw na kini gusto na ko na siya ipakita. Don't hide that, like go show them na inana ka so that makabala sila no. Next. So, visual style. Eric Carle used bright collage illustration, simple and bold shape, repetitive structure ideal for young learners. So, as you can remember, Caterpillar was focused on some kids like, as you can remember no nga, kinder pa lang nabasa na ako na siya, there nga part no nga, i-focus ni Eric for the children. But actually, Caterpillar was not just exist lang sa elementaries o sa mga kinder. They also exist in high school. As I remembered when I was high school, basa gyapon mi nagyapon sa library makakita no. So dili lang kay siya based sa bata but gina-focus po siya sa everyone. So next. So impact and popularity. Over 50 million copies sold worldwide. So, grabe no, ang popular sa The Very Hungry Caterpillar kay almost 50 million copies man jud ang sold worldwide. Then, translated into more than 60 language. So, as you can remember, ang Very Hungry Caterpillar was not just written English lang. Nagit po siya klase-klase ng mga words na ga-exist sa other country na different lang. I mean, the story was not different but ang word lang mo like different ito. So, frequently used in a classroom for teaching early childhood concept. So, muna siya ang ginagamit sa mga teacher na okay, read this book para purag na yung makunan ang mga bata bita na dali di ang kuhan, kauna na to para kuhan. So, next. So, conclusion. The Very Hungry Caterpillar remains a timeless classic because of its simple storytelling, engaging artwork, and the valuable lesson it teaches children. It blends education with creativity, making it one of the most beloved picture books in the world. So, The Very Hungry Caterpillar, even though sa picture, I mean, dili ko siya kung bitaw like other book nga grabe ang design, just a simple lang na story na bigama ni Eric Carle pero grabe og impact no, like from the page pa lang kaya nga oy ganang kog basa ani because of the style of The Very Hungry Caterpillar. So
next one. Ben, ma-zoom ni mo. So, now I am going to summary the story. So, Cinderella is a young girl forced to work as a servant for her cruel stepmother and stepsisters. Even with the unfair treatment, she stays kind and hopeful. When the royal palace announces a grand ball, Cinderella wishes to go, but is prevented by her step family. A magical fairy godmother appears and helps her attend the ball, reminding her that the magic ends at midnight. At the ball, the prince is enchanted by her, but she rushes home as the spell breaks, leaving behind a glass slipper. The prince searches the kingdom for the girl who fits the glass slipper, and when it perfectly meets Cinderella, she is recognized as the mysterious girl from the ball. She and the prince marry and Cinderella's life finally changes for the better. Next one. So the character of this story is that Cinderella is the kind, patient protagonist who is mistreated by her stepfamily, while the stepmother is the antagonist who is jealous of Cinderella's beauty and charm. On the other hand, the stepsister is the selfish and unkind daughter of the stepmother who also mistreats Cinderella, while the fairy godmother is the magical figure who provides Cinderella with the means to attend the ball, and the prince is the royal figure who falls in love with Cinderella and searches for her. Next one. So the plot of this story is that Cinderella faces the conflict of the story is that Cinderella faces mistreatment and is prevented from attending the ball. And the setting of this story is a kingdom long ago where the ball is being held, including Cinderella's home and the palace. Cinderella's home is that ito yung gipuy-an before iyang papa namatay, then dito po siya maltrato sa iyang family. Next one. So the plot of this story is that Cinderella lives a difficult life and fairy godmother helps her attend the ball and she meets the prince but leaves at midnight. So dere kana si Cinderella, even though nga naglisod siya sa iyang kinabuhi kay gimaltrato siya sa iyang staff family, wala siya nag-give up and still kay nan hopeful ra gyapon siya nga someday makalingkawas ra gyapon siya sa iyang life. Then ang fairy godmother is the one who helps her to go up to the ball and ma-meet niya ang prince. Then the prince is the one who gets the glass slipper and searches for the kingdom. Next one. So, the plot is that, the climax is the prince having fallen in love searches the kingdom for the woman who fits the glass slipper. After her stepsisters fail, the slipper fits Cinderella perfectly. Her identity is revealed. Diri is ilhan na kung kinsa gitagiya sa glass slipper who is Cinderella, and na-recognize na siya sa prince nga siya ang nawala nga mysterious girl atong nagsayaw sila sa grand ball sa Royal Palace. Next one. So in the end, Cinderella and the prince got married and live happily ever after. Next one. So the moral of the story is that goodness and kindness will always be rewarded, and that's all. Thank you.
Rika. Rika. Start na, Rika. Wait na. Wait lang ah. Sige, ito na tayo. Hindi na. Mag-report na ako ka-chus. So, okay. Good day, everyone. So, today I will present the literary analysis of the Filipino folktale entitled The Turtle and the Monkey. So, this book teaches us important lessons about great wisdom and behavior. So, next, let us talk about the summary. So, the story is about a turtle and a monkey who found a banana plant and decided to divide it. The monkey chose the top part while the turtle chose the bottom with rods.
The turtle plant grew and produced fruit while the monkey's plant died. Out of jealousy, the monkey stole the bananas. The turtle set a trap. And in the end, the turtle escaped safely while the monkey was defeated. So there is kuan katong nakakita si monkey ug turtle og saging, then naka-decide sila nga ilang tungaon. Then si monkey is pili niya ang taas, which is katong walay ugat, so dahon ta tarag iyaha. Then si turtle is dipili niya ang ubos, so ang iya is katong ugat. Then ang kang monkey is namatay ang yang kuan, namatay yang tinanong kasi syempre walay ugat. So ang kang turtle nitubo siya, niturok. Then sa pag nagselos man si monkey, so nagselos siya. Then yan nagplano siya nga kawat niya ang tinanom ni turtle nga kuan nga saging. So nagsip si kuan wa man siya naghatag kay nangay man si turtle, so nagsip si turtle og trap sa ubos nga mga tunok aron matusok si monkey kung kanang manaog siya. Then and in the end si turtle is nakalakaw siya nga safe while si monkey is napiti siya. Next. So now let's discuss the character and dress. There are two main characters in the story. First is now let's discuss the character and dress. There are two main characters in the story. First is the turtle is wise, calm, patient, and intelligent. He thinks before he acts. So mo na attitude ni turtle. So ang is iya sa hunang tarong ay siya mo plano. And then second is si monkey. The monkey on the other hand is greedy, selfish, impulsive, arrogant, and jealous. These traits are the main reason why conflict happens in the story. Next. So the plot of the story begins when the turtle and monkey find the banana plant. The rising action happens when they divide and plant it. The middle part shows the turtle's plant growing while the monkey's plant dies. The conflict begins when the monkey steals the bananas. The climax happens when the turtle into the river. The ending shows that the turtle survives and the monkey is left defeated. So mo ito siya akong gingon ganiya nga nagkuan sila na ilang ito nga saging, di namatay itong sakang monkey nga saging, di nabuhi ang sakay turtle. And ang ending is and katong gilabay man to ni kuan, gilabay ni monkey si turtle sa kuan sa suba kay abi niya mamatay lagi, so wa siya kabalo nga si turtle is over, so mulutaw siya kay gamit niya ang likod, so nagtulong siya nagayang-haya, nagkataw-katawa. So ang ending is nakasurvive si turtle, din si monkey is ni palayo lang siya nga napili. Next. So the tune and mood. The tune of the story is moralistic because it teaches a lesson. It is also playful but with a warning. The beginning is curious. During the conflict, it becomes tense, and at the end, it becomes satisfying because justice is served. Next. And the conflict. The main conflict of the story is between the monkey's greed and the turtle's wisdom. This is a man versus man type of conflict because two characters are directly against each other. And the climax of the story happens when the monkey throws the turtle into the river. The monkey thinks the turtle will die. but instead, the turtle survives and wins using his intelligence. Next. Imagery is shown through the ripe yellow bananas, the sharp bamboo thorns, and the flowing river. These details help the audience imagine the setting and events of the story more clearly. And the personification. The story uses personification because the turtle and monkey talk, think, feel emotion, and make decision like humans. This makes the story more interesting and teaches lessons in a fun way. Next, point of view. The story is told in the third person point of view because the narrator is not part of the story and use the words so they, the turtle, and the monkey. Moral lesson. The moral lesson of the story is that greed leads to downfall. Intelligence is stronger than physical strength, and cheating others will always bring the consequences. Next. Manara ka! Dana!
Importance of the book choices. So, pati sa books, no, we have also the important materials, which is the giving readers the ability to choose their own books in widely considered and powerful strategy for literacy, development, and fostering a lifelong love of reading. We have next was both engagement and motivation. First, in the both engagement and motivation is the intrinsic motivation, which is when readers select a book based on their own interest, or etc., or more specific genre, topic, or author. They develop intrinsic motivation to read for personal enjoyment and curiosity rather than for external rewards or requirements. So the second is ownership and autonomy. Choosing a book gives the reader a sense of ownership and control over
Media and technology in children and adolescents literature. Definition and role of media and technology. Media and technology refer to the different digital tools and platforms children and teenagers use today, such as smartphones, tablets, computers, social media, videos, ebooks, and educational apps. In literature, media and technology play a big role because they change the way young readers experience stories. Instead of reading only printed books, many children now explore stories through animated videos, interactive ebooks, audiobooks, and online storytelling platforms. Their role is to make stories more engaging and accessible. Technology can help struggling readers by giving them audio support, visuals, and interactive features that make reading easier and more exciting. It also exposes them to a wider world of stories they may not find in the traditional books. However, it still aims to support reading, not replace. The goal is to use technology to help young readers enjoy literature while still building real reading skills. So, media and technology like phones, tablets, videos, and ebooks change the way children read stories. So these tools make reading more fun and easier through animations, audio, and interactive features. But even with technology, kids still need to build real reading skills. So it should help reading, not replace.
So this means reading includes ebooks, audiobooks, and interactive story apps like ebook and digital storybook are useful because children can read anytime and anywhere, even without carrying a physical book. So next, audiobooks great for young readers who need help with pronunciation or comprehension. So audiobooks help young readers who struggle with pronunciation and understanding certain words because you can listen while following the text story apps and interactive books, making more enjoyable through sounds, animations, and clickable features that keep children engaged. Next, story apps and interactive books. This includes sounds, animation, and clickable features that make reading fun. So, but even though these tools are helpful, they should be used wisely. Too much reliance on digital books might reduce a child due to this too much screen time and and too much screen time affect their health, focus, and sleep. Interactive features that also distract children from the real purpose of reading. That's why adults need to guide them and make sure technology is used to support learning to replace screen time of children and okay. Caution for using media and technology. Too much screen time may affect a child's focus, health, and sleeping habits, and overdependence of visual can reduce imagination because of their own is shown and not imagined. Next, possible exposure to inappropriate content, especially in open platforms like YouTube or social media. Distraction from pop-ups and ads and notifications. And next, use up of deep reading skills when children rely on a fast animated shortcut version of stories. Next, parents and teachers should guide children to use these tools wisely, balancing digital reading with traditional books and ensuring content is safe and appropriate and actually education. So, using media and technology for reading can be helpful, but there are also things to be careful about. It So if children can spend too much in screens, it can affect their health, and even their sleep. When kids always watch visuals, their imagination may become weaker because everything is already shown to them instead of letting them imagine the scene on their own. There are there are also the risk of children seeing content that is not appropriate for their age, especially on open apps like YouTube or social media. So mapap-up din ang ilang mga ads, mga notification. Kani dali ra kayo because na ma-distract them from kanilang malang ginalyan. So another problem is that when children get used fast animated versions of stories, they might lose their habit of reading closer for reading that helps them understand and think more. So this is why parents and teachers need to guide the children. When they use digital tools, they should make sure that content is safe, is appropriate and educational balance digital reading with traditional books. So platforms like YouTube can make stories come alive with visual and narrative which help catch children's attention. Educational apps like Epic, Google Classroom, or even Wattpad for teenagers offer thousands of books suitable for different ages, and these tools are helpful as well as an adult. The children and make sure they're using them wisely. And next,
Okay, go lang.
Okay. Summary. Media and technology play an important tool in a modern children and adolescent literature by making reading more engaging, accessible, and interactive. They support they support diverse learning needs and provide opportunities to explore stories in new digital formats. However, technology must be used wisely. Adults should guide children in choosing quality content, limiting screen time, and balancing digital reading with traditional books when used responsibly. Media and technology can enrich young readers' experience and strengthen their love for literature. So, in short, media was so karon this generation no ang technology murag gapangibabaw na no ang mga books na left behind na lang no. So, instead of that, ay mga authors na ginagama lang yapon nila like from book to technology like ginabasa na karon nato. One of the example of this is na mga book nga like Superbook mga na that is from Bible lang pero during the technology era murag na left behind na lang kasi no instead of left behind gigamaan sa mga authors o pamaagi which is technology but there's what we call this negative because as you can remember
its inclusion. So, teaching children and adolescents literacy becomes more meaningful when we use the right books and strategies in literature by embracing multiculturalism. Readers are helped exposed to diverse stories, cultures, and perspectives that help them develop empathy and respect for others. Storytelling and reading aloud then make learning more engaging, allowing students to experience emotion, improve comprehension, and build stronger language skills. Giving them choices and different types of books encourage independence, motivation, and genuine love for a reading. Lastly, integrating media and technology into children's and adolescents' literature supports modern learning, making making stories more interactive, accessible, and relevant to their daily lives. Altogether, these elements work together to create rich, inclusive, and effective literary experience that helps young readers grow academically, socially, and emotionally. So teaching literacy to children and adolescents becomes very meaningful when teachers use the right books and strategies. When we include multicultural stories, young readers are introduced to different cultures, experience, and viewpoints, helping them grow more understanding and respect of others. Storytelling and reading aloud make learners come alive, allowing students to feel emotion, understand the story better, and strengthen their language skills. Letting learners choose from different types of books also build their confidence and motivate them to read more. It helps them develop a genuine love for reading because they feel free to explore what interests them using media and technology. In children's and teen literature also supports their learning by making stories more interactive, accessible, and connected to their everyday world. So overall, this approach, multiculturalism, storytelling, book choice, and digital tools work together to create rich and exclusive literary experience. They help young readers to grow not only academic but also socially and emotionally, preparing them to become thoughtful and capable individuals. Thank you.